So in this video, we're talking about some really good news. I think a lot of PlayStation fans are going to be very happy to hear this because this is not a rumor, this is not a leak, this is official. And it has to do with something that a lot of PlayStation fans have been feeling pretty down about when it comes to Sony and their approach. And I think that this is going to change everything for those specific PlayStation fans. It says here that Sony has apparently created a PlayStation game preservation team. So I want to go over this and talk about it. Before we do, make sure you hit the like button to help the video out and show your support. And if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. This is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, where they say PlayStation has apparently formed a newly created preservation team, which could be in charge of preserving PlayStation classics. According to LinkedIn and Twitter posts by Garrett Fredley, a new senior build engineer at the company, his post suggests that this team will be specifically dedicated to game preservation, leading to hopes that this will culminate in the much requested PS3 emulation, or at the very least, archival work for the vast library of legacy PlayStation games. As originally spotted by user Smitch on Reset Error, Fredley notes that his post on LinkedIn, and particularly related to his post on Twitter, that game preservation was his first career passion. And so he says here, today is my first day as a senior build engineer for PlayStation, working as one of their initial hires for the newly created preservation team. Game preservation was my first career passion. It was my first foray into the world of software engineering / DevOps, and into a world that many are unaware of. Let's go and ensure our industry's history isn't forgotten. It goes on to say it's unclear what the priorities will be for this new PlayStation game preservation team. Fredley himself has 3 years of experience as a software engineer at Electronic Arts, as noted on his main LinkedIn profile page, where he headed the preservation efforts for the FIFA franchise, resulting in the complete archival of multiple titles. He has also spoken about game preservation at GDC in March 2019 in a talk called Game Preservation Best Practices, a real-life EA case study. So it would seem that at a bare minimum, PlayStation will be archiving the source code for both current and legacy games. The hope is that this team will also be in charge of bringing PlayStation classics, either for direct emulation on the latest PlayStation consoles and or for inclusion in the upcoming PlayStation Plus Premium tier, which Sony says will bring a catalog of classic games from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations. All told, perhaps PS3 emulation and PS5 is less of a pipe dream than we originally thought. And so I thought that this was something seriously worth covering here, because I tell you guys all the time, I'm not the biggest advocate for playing older games. It's not that I have anything against it, it's just not something I normally do. It's rare that I ever go back and play older games, but there are a lot of people where this is very important to them, and there are a lot of people who do like to go back and play these old games and wish that they could do so in a more efficient way on the PlayStation 5 and, likely with future PlayStation consoles. And that's also a little bit different from game preservation itself. Game preservation is important because some of these things, if they're not taken care of properly over a long period of time, can literally just end up disappearing and just going away potentially forever. And that's not something that, when it comes to PlayStation's history or any, publisher's history, it's not something we want to see. And so this is a really good sign. I think that this is a really, really great sign that Sony is beginning to care a lot more about their past catalog. We've seen Sony kind of not care that much, or as much as people hope they would, for the past couple of years, pretty much throughout the PS4 generation and now into the PS5 generation. And I think some people were beginning to lose hope that, it just seems like Sony is just kind of going to let this stuff, go by the wayside over time. But that's not the case. It's clear that they are taking this seriously, and they now have a dedicated team whose job is going to be to preserve this stuff. And there's no doubt in my mind that this coincides with PlayStation Plus Premium, with the classic games that they're planning to bring to the table here. And I do think it coincides with PlayStation 3 emulation, because as we said, that is something that eventually, it may not be anytime soon, but eventually Sony is going to have no choice but to figure that out, because they're not going to be able to rely on these PS3 server blades forever. And unless Sony's just ready to let all these PS3 games just disappear and go away forever, they're not going to do that. This is why I think that they're doing this. And again, I just wanted to be sure to share this with you guys because I know that there are many of you who are very passionate, not only about game preservation, but specifically with PlayStation, hoping that Sony begins to care more about these classic games, the PS1, 2, and 3, and PSP generation. And it seems like there's a really good sign here that that's exactly what they're doing. So there you go. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this newly created PlayStation game preservation team and what you hope to see out of them and what you hope that they end up achieving. Leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.